Hello. Welcome to the Math Success Seminar online through Tri-C Metro in Cleveland, Ohio. I'm Kevin, and I'm going to cover as many topics as I can in the class, possibly have study sessions or more examples, kind of like how to. Why are you blurry now? There we go. So, stop it. For today, I'm going to talk about integers. It's going to keep doing that. So, how do you think about integers? What is an integer? Well, you can think of an integer as just a whole piece. So a number that doesn't have a fraction doesn't have a decimal. So 9, -2, 7, things that are not integers, not integer. 1/9, -2/5, -357/24. Not exactly integers because we got that fraction element. So then the question is, how do you translate when a number is positive and when a number is negative? So I always relate it to money. If you got that paycheck at the end of the week and that was $200, I would consider that a plus 200, a positive 200, because that's 200 in your account. But let's say you got bills and you can only pay, or let's say your bills only go up to like 130 or something like that. So bills are something that you have to give up your money for. Since you're giving up money, that would be -130. Fairly simple. So a gain would be positive and a loss would be negative. And this is really up to you to determine. I mean, at this point, it should be pretty straightforward to think about. Gain is positive, loss is negative. But now let's try to combine the two worlds. If I climb a mountain that's 500 feet, so 500 foot, I'm going to put climb underneath it. Climb up. Let's say we climb up 500 feet. And then we go down 200 feet. Climb down. Climb down. Then the climb up, I would consider a positive, and the climb down, I would consider negative. Because one is your gaining altitude, one is your losing altitude. So this problem can just be simply written as 500 minus 200, and then you can just carry that out. So what elevation do you end up at? 300. So that's a simple, small example of how to relate integers to something in real life. Elevation, money. And we're not going to get too much into it in this class, but coordinate systems, also positive and negative. It's up to you to decide what is positive and negative in a coordinate system. But that's really all there is to it. So the next thing I wanted to talk about was absolute values. So what is an absolute value and why is it important? So I'm going to give you the technical answer first. This is the number line with 0 here. Pretend this arrow goes on forever, pretend that arrow goes on forever. I mean, obviously it can't. The screen's not big enough. But the absolute value is just the distance that you are from 0. So let's take 5 and -6, for example. Not drawn to scale, of course, I'm just kind of eyeballing it. So the absolute value of 5, you would write like this. Absolute value has this funny vertical bar. It's like a special type of parentheses hidden in here. So what is the distance we have to travel from 0 to get to 5? Well, that's easy. We had to travel 5 units. But here's where absolute value is really functional, is how many units do we have to go from 0 to get to -6? Well, we had to go 6 units. So notice, whenever there's an absolute value, the number always turns out positive. So it doesn't matter how large or how small it is. Any negative number is going to become its positive counterpart. Or if it ends up being a positive number, let's say like 109, any positive number, the absolute value just stays positive, positive 109. So with absolute values, examples of real life absolute values that maybe people haven't thought of. Let's say, let's get the number line out of here. Distance is kind of an absolute value. It depends on which way you're going. And this is what I was talking about with coordinate systems. It's up to you to decide what's positive and what's negative. But if you travel 4 miles in a direction, in any direction, you still traveled 4 miles. So distance, strength, you can't really have negative strength, right? If you can deadlift 250 pounds, it wouldn't make sense for me to say you can deadlift negative 100 pounds like that. So strength is another example of absolute value. I'm sure there's more, but you get the point. Anyways, thanks for tuning in for the first Math Success Seminar online lesson. Just covering the bases. I'm going to try to get through the whole semester of material in a week or two, but see you next time.